So I'm blessed to be with Briony Montgomery, who is a spiritual teacher, a writer, and a yogini. Welcome, Briony. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Ellie, for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I was so excited when you wanted to be a part of it. And what was it that got you interested in natural therapies? Was it 15 years ago?
Yes, yeah. I came into the world with a very, I just knew things from a very young age. I could see people's energies. I could interpret what was going on for them in their lives without actually even knowing the story behind why their body was carrying that kind of essence. I knew that I could see things manifesting in people's bodies, like illnesses and disease, before they were actually, before they were actually diagnosed medically. So I had this from a very young age, but it was never celebrated. I came from a very, very normal family, who, emotions are not a good thing to have, and especially, kind of if you're seeing things and experiencing, energies and spirits and people are coming to visit, beings are coming to visit you from other realms. It scared my mother, actually, and as I went down that path, she tried to block even more of that growth. So when she got cancer when I was in my early 20s, and it was a very long kind of journey, short journey for her, but a long journey for me, where when she passed when I was 23, I just, I died with her. Like, my soul just completely, it just died. I had no compass anymore, because she was my mum, and I had no centre. There was a very mishmash kind of relationship together. It was not particularly healthy, but I died with her, and I spent felt like a very long period, but in actual human terms, a very short period of toying whether I should even actually be here anymore, and wanting to go with her. And it was kind of like a light moment, a moment that kind of, the heavens opened up, and they showed, there was this college where I was living on the Central Coast, and they were doing aromatherapy courses, and I knew the woman who was running the college, and she had such integrity and a beautiful way about her, that I picked up the phone, I rang, and I said I want to enroll. And that was the moment that it all shifted.
Wow.
And then I just started, and I just immersed myself in study. And it was like my it's like I restarted to rebuild myself from there, of actually who I was, and a remembering of what I'd been my whole life, but had been, in denial about, or segmented away, kind of in a closet. That kind of all came through, and yeah.
And there was a choice to move back towards those gifts, and to allow them to flourish more through your choice to study aromatherapy. And
yes, yeah, definitely. And it was like, if I didn't do it, if I didn't follow this what has been put, I had no choice. I had a choice. You always have a choice, but I didn't want to go back to what the reality I'd been living in. I couldn't go back anymore. I had to start now to build cell by cell myself back in what I knew was actually who I was at my core essence, and that was where I just focused on, and I just immersed, and the more I went along with that, and the more teachers came in, and I learned more. Ayurveda, subtle aromatics, lymphatic drain, I was just like a sponge, just soaking all of these teachings in, and these teachers who came in and into the college to teach. I would sit in classes just to be in their space and learn and assist.
wow.
So I could just learn more and more about what this was inside, and this amazing space that I all of a suddenly this freedom, this yeah, like this life that I was always there, that I didn't have access to, was all of a suddenly there, and it was really amazing.
Wow, what an amazing transformation and reclamation of your true self. One thing I want to ask is if there are people that were like you, like very like attuned to other worlds, or like having visions, or able to see people's energy, and they're in a family that's not accepted, or that's maybe a bit scary, or they're trying to make them repress it. Do you have any advice for those kind of people?
Yeah. If I was talking to a young adult who was in a situation, or a child who was in a situation, I would, and I have said this to people before, just, not even in a client situation, but just in a passing situation, that, what you're feeling is right and true and real, and protect it as much as you can, because that's your essence, that's who you are, and create some safety for yourself, create love for yourself, create it in a space. Don't let anybody take that from you. It can be tricky with children, but just I often find that in a situation, because I have it often, that we were presented with this beautiful little being in front of me, who's looking up at me and going, I can feel, I can feel that they're lost, and just looking at them and saying a prayer and saying it's going to be okay, you're okay, can be enough for that being to carry that till the next time that, that the universe supports them in that way and presents them with another opportunity of support. So trusting that that person is going to be okay is really a lot of it as well. So
Yeah, it sounds like the importance of kind of validating their experience and normalizing it. And I wonder if there's like a framework that you use to explain to anyone that you work with, like what they might be seeing or experiencing.
yeah, I have one phrase that I was taught a very long time ago when I was on my journey, and I use it all the time. First thought, best thought, always. When something comes to you in whatever form it comes to you, trust it. Trust it, because we're conditioned and cultured to second guess it. But it's those moments that comes through that first thought that's always the truth. It's always the truth. So when I work with people, that's what I teach them, that first thought, don't second guess it. Don't deconstruct it and put it back together. Trust in its integrity and its purity. And you don't need to know why it's there. You don't need to know where it's going. You just need to trust in its integrity, and it will unravel and unveil itself when the time is right.
And you're currently pregnant with your fourth child. How's the pregnancy been so far for you?
It's been an incredible journey. It's been very surprising and very divine, to be pregnant and in such deep communion with the divine and with my soul and with my work, and to have this being, into my body, is kind of actually, it's even really hard to encapsulate with words on how amazingly awesome, to be, this being has chosen me at this time to be its mother, and and my husband to be its father. I I've long been on my journey with all of my children, because I did all my study before I had my first, and so it's really helped me as a mother to navigate parenthood and motherhood. And this one, came through late last year after we'd lost a child. And so we'd been on a huge, big journey, and then I went to do an amazing yogini retreat where I met you, Ari. And what shifted and transformed for me in that retreat, it just cleared my pelvic area, and it cleared my energy system, and it cleared a lot of it healed a lot of masculine wounds and feminine wounds I'd been holding on to for a long time. And then when I came back from the retreat, being able to do more of my work and priestess work, and holding ceremonies, and being in deep practice and communion with my with my pelvis, with my womb. And then this divine being decided that was the perfect time to come in, and it's been extraordinary to feel as though, to really feel a deep connection with the earth actually through this pregnancy, and feeling like the Divine Mother. And I've been using a lot of yogini practices and tantric practices and Hindu practices centered around my womb and the birth and the baby's development, and just dipping into feeling how the baby is actually developing in a more of a spiritual sense, not just a physical sense, but how its chakra system is actually developing in my womb, and how that's actually correlating with my journey and with how I'm feeling, and it feels very very special, because there's in my other pregnancies, when you get pregnant, there's a lot of physical things that you need to tick off, and there's a lot of expected ailments and all those sorts of things, and this one has really shown me that there's such a huge spiritual component to this, to gestation and bringing a baby into the world. And there's definitely emotional and spiritual layers that we often don't bring in as as importantly as our physicality of the whole process and the journey. So it's been, and we don't know what it is, which is really unlike me. Having 3 children, I'm quite organised, but not knowing that who this baby is actually really nice, and sitting in a complete void of letting the process and the journey unfold. And I know this baby is integral to my work. I know this baby, when this baby comes through, it's going to open me to a deeper understanding that I can offer and embody, as well as take me on another path with my work. So this baby is very in line with where myself and my partner are on a spiritual and human journey. So.
It sounds like the baby has such an energetic place in the world already, and that you feel that. And I feel like, wow, what a gift that this being that's coming in, it's so welcome and celebrated, and in every way and every level, it's it's got a place.
Yeah.
And one question I'd love to ask, because you're bringing in a baby into this world, a question I love asking is, if you had a vision for an ideal world, what would it be? What would it look like? What would it feel like?
Wow, an ideal world. Wow. This might be a little bit controversial, but I kind of feel we're living in an ideal world, though there's a lot of situations and events that aren't classified as ideal. There's a lot of pain in the world happening at the moment. But I look for the light in everything, and I look for truth. And I believe that where we are right now in the world is purpose-filled. I do not believe that it's not meant to be this way. I do not believe that we're off course. I don't believe that we're going in the wrong direction. I actually think that we're going in the right direction with divine purpose. And ideal for me probably is, comes to my mind, is truth. Truth begins, with seeing what's in front of you and really seeing it even in its horrors and, its horrific state. There is a dying that needs to take place within everybody, and we do that, women and men too, I believe as well, do that every month. They die, through their menstruation and through their, their cycles, and men also too have that cycle as well when they go in with the woman and they have hormonal changes and they take layers off, and we're in that right now in the world. It's like we're going into, we're in a space where we're actually starting to strip away the layers, and we're seeing the truth.
Wow.
The ideal is that we're already extraordinary divine beings. We're the embodiment of divinity already, and it's remembering that it's remembering of who we are. It's a coming back to our centre and coming back to where we came from and who we are actually right now. The universe, the world, the earth, its beings are extremely, the fragility is just it's just heart-blowing. It's just, when I step outside and I feel the essence of the earth, and I know that it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And keep dedicating the fruits of everything that I do and everything that that's happening in the world back into the earth, and trusting that we're already there. We just we need a collective to wake up and see that we're here already.
Just feeling that in my body. Thank you. Yeah. And our final question, Briony, is, what is it that makes you come alive?
Wow, that's a big question. Yeah, what is it? Yeah, there's quite a few things. To encapsulate it, love makes me come alive. Love. I feel it, I breathe it, it's in every cell in my body. I just, everything I do is because I believe in pure love. And that makes me come alive. Seeing my children in that state of love and bliss and joy reminds me, of love, reminds me of myself, it makes me come alive too. My work, life is extraordinary. Life is extraordinary. The people you meet, the expressions, the creativity, the beauty, in everything. Whether you're out, here in the in the hills of Byron, or whether you're in a city, there's beauty to be found in every minuscule second of the day, and how you move with that and breathe that, and that makes me come alive. And seeing people grow in that, and that light that goes on when they're kind of experiencing a lot of deep pain, or they're unsure, they're stuck, and that light that goes on, and they go, I've got it, and you see the whole energy shift and change, and you're like, wow, that's a miracle, that's amazing. That makes me come alive. So
So beautiful, Briony. Oh, yum, feeling that aliveness in my body. Thank you so much for coming to talk to us and for sharing your journey. It's such a gift.
Thank you, Ari. It's been divine. Thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
Strength, courage, and wisdom is inside of me.